Mexico's economy has undergone a drastic change in recent years. It's said the country offers investors a land of opportunity which can rival many emerging powers. So, how will the country's new tax reform impact investors? Here to tell us more are Luis Gerardo Del Valle Torres and Alejandro Aceves Perez, managing partner and tax partner of Mexico's leading law firm, Jauregui and Del Valle. Luis, tell us more.
Economically speaking, it's always stated that it's better to have the resources in the hands of the businesses rather than in the hands of the government. The government is coming up with a 10% dividend tax, and that did not exist before. And it's also increasing considerably the individual's tax rate from a 30 to a 35%. So any tax reform that just intends to collect more revenue will always and has always been controversial.
Alejandro, how will this impact on Mexico's investment climate?
One of the objectives is to increase the collection of revenues for the government. So there is no doubt that it will affect the investment climate. However, we do not consider that this will have a significant negative affection because the opportunities are there, the markets are there, and we still believe and consider Mexico to be a very attractive place for foreign investors.
What advice would you offer multinational companies who could potentially be impacted?
As the tax climate becomes more complex, multinational companies require to carefully analyze the way they have been performing operations in Mexico. Our advice to multinational companies is mainly to be careful to take care of the new regulations in order to avoid a negative consequence. From an operational perspective, everything becomes more complex, so they need to be closer to their tax advisors, to their legal advisors, so basically they do not have any future negative consequences with respect to the creation of liabilities. So everything basically gets to a more complete environment from a legal and tax perspective. That's our view.
And what opportunities are there for foreign investors? If you think about the various sectors, are there any that are specifically open to them, and are there any that are off limits?
Real estate sector has been very attractive to both existing investors and new investors, either from Mexican sources or from foreign sources. That has been under a very dynamic environment very recently. So in the future, for certain, that is one of the major opportunities that our country is offering. One of the off-limit sectors and what we call the energy reform may provide with the opportunity to open that sector to foreign investors. That has been under discussion, and depending on how they perform the analysis, what the outcome is, we may be seeing more foreign investors coming to our country with respect to the energy sector, which now probably is close to certain company profiles, but that could be off limits at the moment, but that might be opened in the very near future.
The OECD comments an action plan with respect to base erosion and profit shifting. Tell me more.
What the report suggests is that governments come up with general anti-avoidance provisions, that they tighten the CFC, by CFC I mean controlled foreign corporations regimes, meaning that whenever the transnationals try to organize their business in a way that actually shifts profits from a higher tax jurisdiction to a lower tax jurisdiction, that's just included in the basis of wherever the company is tax resident.
How will this impact Mexico, and what is the country's take on it?
All of this tax reform will clearly impact the decision of transnationals or of where, when, and how much to invest. Mexico is still a very powerful economy. There are a lot of opportunities, and the Mexican government is just relying on the fact that just increasing taxation with this 10% dividend tax shouldn't affect decisions of transnationals in a way that should affect the economy or the investment that we're expecting that will come into the country in the future years.
And finally, why should investors look to Mexico?
The production costs are still low, probably not as low as in China or as in certain other countries, but then the development of the Mexican economy, the services that are available, the privileged geographical location of Mexico should be taken in consideration. So I think we're clearly going to be competing strongly against BRIC countries for investment.
Luis, Alejandro, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.